Welcome to another Chef Knives to Go Quick Look product review. I'm Steve Gamache, and this time we are looking at the Goko Nashiji White No. 1 Petty 150mm knife. This line of knives has a core steel of Shitogami or white paper No. 1 reactive carbon steel. The heat treat's about 60 Rockwell on that core steel. And the construction is a stainless cladding on either side of that core steel for a 3-layer sandwich, so you've got softer stainless cladding. And the finish, which we'll get a close-up look at, is a Nashiji or pear skin modeled finish to it. It's really nicely done. Adds a kind of an understated, refined rustic look to the knife. The weight on this knife is about 73 grams or 2.6 ounces, and the weights and dimensions will vary a little bit from knife to knife, being as they're handmade. The blade length is right about 157 on this one, so this one was a little longer than some. Again, those will vary. The overall length, about 11 inches. On this one, the thickness coming out of the handle above the back of the blade here is 3¼ millimeters, but it thins down quite a bit as you go through the blade, and then has a pretty nice taper down until about here where you hit the grind, and then tapers down thin at the edge. And this thing does go through soft product really well. Think onions, shallots. It's a good performing knife. The blade height is about 36.3 millimeters, and that again will vary a little bit from knife to knife. So this is what I would categorize as a tall petty with a kind of a gyuto, mini gyuto type look and feel to it. And you get a little bit of clearance for cutting board for your fingers. So it kind of acts like a little mini gyuto in look and also in practice. The handle is a no frills, kind of a dyed, they call it chestnut, but it's kind of a dyed wood with a plastic ferrule. It's D-shaped. And the handle circumference was about 70 millimeters right here, where the ferrule ends and the wood starts. You do have a bit of a step here where the wood and the ferrule meet. These are really no-frill handles. They actually do the job surprisingly well. The plastic ferrule, some people think that's a turnoff. That's really a personal preference, but the handles themselves do nice, serviceable duty to them. The blade looks like this close-up. So you've got hand-chiseled kanji. It's not real deep. You have to kind of look at it in the light well in the correct fashion to see it, but it is there. And you've got a nice modeled or Nashiji finish to it. And you can see where the grind of the knife starts. It's very obvious, down to the core steel at the edge. I've used this knife a little bit, so it's got a little bit of a patina on it, but I thought it didn't patina quick at all. It's been pretty resistant to reactivity on that core steel, in my opinion. I'll give this edge about a 5 out of 10 out of the box. It sharpened up really well, being white No. 1, which is one of the easiest sharpening steels there is, and takes a great edge. And this has a heat treat of about 60 Rockwell, so it's a little more forgiving than some knives, so that's kind of a nice thing about it. It's got a little forgiveness to it, being the core steel is not way up there in hardness, so that's a good feature depending on what you're looking for. Or I should say, it could be a good feature. The fit and finish of the blade really is nicely done. You've got a little bit of relief at the back of the blade, the choil area, and also the spine. And again, you could have a little bit sharper out of the box edge. If you know how to sharpen, you can just take this up to a screaming sharp edge, which I put it on some stones, and like I said, it got really sharp. Balance point, it's right about there, so really nice for my pinch grip. It's just right there. Real easy to wield this knife. It's got a little bit of clearance on it, being a little bit taller blade, so it works really well on the board. A little tall for in-hand work, like paring style work, but it's really versatile for board work. Let's take a peek at it on the cutting board. It's a good performing knife. It's a solid performer. I enjoyed using it quite a bit. I'm actually thinking about keeping this one. I really liked it a lot. So there's your profile. On the cutting board, it just flows into a bit of a stop towards the heel. Not super flat. You could actually flatten this out a little more towards the heel. If you want to take a little bit of the curve out of the back of the knife, you could get a nice flat section on this, I think, with minimal effort. But it just flows. It's got a nice edge profile that's smooth, and it flows nicely into that back part of the blade. And I can get about right there before I start digging the tip in. So this works great on rocking on shorter things, scallions and short mincing herbs and things like, chives and things like that. But so it's a pretty good all-around profile. Again, the tip doesn't have a huge amount of distal taper, but the tip went through product quite well. I was very happy with the performance of this knife. These are just a high value line of knives. The fit and finish is good. The quality of the grind is really nice. The steel is forgiving, being a little bit lower hardness. They're just a good solid knife all the way around. So there you have the Goko Nashiji White #1 Petty 150mm knife.